Hi, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday Tutorial with myself, Alita Harvey Rodriguez, founder and managing director of MI Academy. And I am very pleased and honored to be joined by our guest this week, Alex Weddleton, who is one of the most amazing creative minds. If you haven't seen his work or checked him out, please go and do yourself a favor, because we are in the presence of what I think is one of Australia's best creative minds here. He's the author of an amazing book published by Penguin called The Right Brain Workout, where he's pulled together other amazing creative minds around the world. As part of today's Tuesday tutorial, we're leading into Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and I thought, who better to talk to than the guy who knows how to make an ad stand out? And it might not be, as all creative people, might not be in the most obvious way possible. So we wanted to talk today about a Patagonia campaign and how this is something that you should really be thinking about. You know, there's the obvious that we can go for with Black Friday, but what can you do to really stand out that's something completely different? So, Al, do you want to start by telling us just a little bit more about you? You've got some Guinness World Records up your sleeve.
No, I've got one Guinness World. I've got one official Guinness World Record. So thanks, Alita. Thanks for those overly kind words. So I've not just done books, The Right Brain Workout, but I worked in advertising for like 20 years. Won lots of awards. Won a Cannes Gold Lion for various campaigns. But the only one anyone ever cares about is the Gruen award that I got, which was great. That TV show. So that was great, and I did lots of campaigns for international, national campaigns, big business, small business, TV ads, print ads, radio. I've done them all, sort of thing. So that was been my background, and then obviously I did the books with Russell Howcroft, who everyone knows is the guru of advertising in Australia. He used to be my old boss. And so I just kept in contact with him for years, just because he's a mad keen footy supporter. I'm a tragic footy supporter, and we just kept talking to each other about footy, and then eventually pitched the idea of the Right Brain Workout to him. And as you said, we got a couple of books published, which is awesome. And nowadays I actually run corporate creative workshops to help people and businesses be more creative. So that's kind of what I do nowadays, because I've got a real passion. You might even see my t-shirt, it says be more creative. And I think that's a key, like particularly when we're talking about Black Friday and Cyber Monday, is that there's a lot of same stuff out in the world, where every second ad is 50% off, 60% off. And so I just love this Patagonia campaign, which we'll talk about, which was, they basically zigged when everyone else was zagging, and they basically said, don't buy our stuff on Black Friday. And if you do buy our stuff on Black Friday, we're going to donate all the money to charity, because they're trying to their whole reason to be is, there's all the fast fashion that's around. They're like, it's not fast fashion. Our stuff is actually built to last. We want you to keep using it. We want you, if it gets a rip in it, to put some plastic tape over it to keep it going. We want you to pass it down, rather than, get something every 3 weeks where you bought that t-shirt, chuck it out, get another one. And I just think it's such a brilliant way to stand out is, everyone's going to say one thing. If you do the opposite, automatically you're different, and that's going to help drive business and drive sales like that. So that's kind of the sort of, my background is always try to do something different, because it takes just as long to do something crap as it does to do something good. So you may as well do something good, if you know what I mean, because then you're going to be more proud of it.
So let's go in and have a look at this campaign. It was in the New York Times, right?
Yeah, about 2012, I think it was. And I think as we sort of saying, this back when people still read newspapers, but it still stands up today. I mean, how's that for an arresting headline? Like everyone's always like, buy, 50% off, 60% off, 30% off, buy one, get one free. And they're like, no, don't buy this jacket. And the whole point of it is, if you read the copy, is basically about, if you've already got a good jacket, you don't need a new one. But when you do need a new one, come to us. But you can reduce it, you can repair it, you can reuse it, you can recycle it. And automatically they just stand out from every other brand that's going around, that's always about, selling and buying and buying. I mean, even just read the first paragraph. It's Black Friday, the day in the year, what's it say? Retail turns from red to black and starts to make real money. But Black Friday and the culture of consumption it reflects puts the economy of natural systems that support all life firmly in the red. We're now using the resources of 1.5 planets on our one and only planet. I mean, what an introductory that is. And that's really going to stand out. So talking about, we're not going to be, fast fashion. We're not going to be disposable. We want you to use our stuff properly. So don't go looking for a huge discount from us on Black Friday. So they're not having to do discounting to get people in the door. They're just saying our quality is so high, basically pay full price for our stuff. And if you don't get it today, no problem. You can get your other stuff from other retailers, but we think don't buy this jacket, because if you don't need it, don't buy it. When you need one, come to us. I think it's a pretty brilliant way of being different to everybody else.
So you're talking about zigging when everybody is zagging, and you're right. Everybody's going to go for the 60% off. They're going to try and reduce their stock. They're going to add new items into the sale all the time, and the message is going to be just that. What is your advice to brands to help them to start thinking bold like this? I think Lush has done a really beautiful job of this, where they're just like, hey, we're out of social media. This stuff is just cactus. It is creating destruction of mankind. We're lonelier than ever, and we don't want to be a part of that. There's always the questions, I'm sure, is like, what happens to our revenue if we're not telling people to buy? How does a brand zig instead of zag and get the right attention that they're looking for, so that they can still keep the doors open and keep selling?
Well, what I like about the Patagonia thing is it's such a genius move, because they're doing something that's different to everybody else, everybody who's of the mindset, and you don't need everybody to agree with you. I think that's what also we fall into the trap of, trying to get 100% of people to like us. 100% of people aren't ever going to like you. And if you're just the same as everybody else, you're just going to be one of a million, whereas these guys are one of one. And that makes them stand out. And that's something that actually will help them for the rest of the year. So if you put something out on Black Friday that makes it say that you are going to stand for something different to everybody else for the 364 other days of the year, they might think, oh, actually, I want that brand that was doing something different, because I believe in their value system. And that's going to help you stand out. And I think really, it literally is looking at what everything else your competitors are doing and just brainstorm for a day and just go, what would be the exact opposite of that? Just try doing the exact opposite. So the Black Friday is all about buying stuff, buying stuff, buying stuff. Patagonia went, what about if we say don't buy? Literally, that's the exact, and you can do that. If people say it's 50% off something, maybe you can go, we're going to give you a discount to somebody else's store because our stuff is really good quality. I don't know what it is, but just literally just start with doing the opposite, and who knows what that might lead to. It might lead to something that's terrible and it doesn't work, but you never know. Then you might go, what if we tried this? What if we tried that? And you just keep iterating in different ways of communicating your brand message, and eventually you'll get to something that I think something I like to talk about when I worked all the time in advertising is that, like, I go to a dinner party, right? And they said, I work in advertising, and they'd say, do I know any campaigns? And you'd like, oh, I had all these campaigns that were great, and then they never went ahead, and it's all a bit depressing. And nowadays, because I've done all these weird and wonderful things on the side where I've sort of just gone with my heart, and I've been able to get like a statue of Nikki Winmar made. I've been able to get supermarkets to stop doing plastic promotions. I've got, Homey, a tiny little social enterprise brand, and now a massive brand. And that was all by doing what was considered probably wrong. Everyone would say, don't do it like that. You should do it this way. But if you do it in a different way, even if it's 10% different, it's going to be so different to everybody else. It's going to feel. So yeah, I would say definitely is to try and get into the heart of the consumer and do something that you think people will talk about at a dinner table conversation. Because if you're going to do an ad or marketing that people have to be sent, they have to spend lots of money on it for them to see it, then it's not going to cut through. But if you can do something they're going to want to reach out towards you, then that's going to make a huge amount of difference. As I said, doing the opposite of what everybody else is doing, it's a really, really simple tip. And also, I think maybe we get too lost in being serious all the time. Like, I think life is short and we forget that we're all going to die. So we need to do some more fun. We need to do entertaining stuff. There's only so much sales stuff that you're going to listen to, like a Harvey Norman ad or something like that. If you're Harvey Norman and you're doing it, that's great, but you're never going to be able to compete with Harvey Norman. So you need to do something different, like to that. Same with JB Hi-Fi. They have their way of doing things. If you're a music retailer, you need to do something that's completely different. So I sometimes think about when I see like a sale for like bedding retailers and they're like yelling at you, I'm like, isn't bedding supposed to be about being relaxed? So wouldn't it be brilliant if a bedding retailer did, our ads are designed to send you to sleep, and they were really quiet and softly
Went for
spoken, and
ASMR.
yeah, and they actually bored you. And it's like, we're going to make the most boring ads possible because this is the feeling you're going to get when you lie in one of our beds. That would stand out so much. And there's a million examples that you could do like that. And it's doing something that's a little bit fun and a little bit playful can really stand out, because so much marketing it's so serious and trying to hit you over the head over and over with their message. If you do it in a slightly different human way, again, you're going to stand out, I reckon.
Well, I mean, Patagonia is a brand that stands out in everybody's mind, and it's because they have done the exact opposite of what we expect retail brands to do. And I think it's not, is it unintended consequences? Because Patagonia, through this ad, would have picked up so much media, just like Lush did when they cancelled every single one of their social accounts. They picked up so much media, and they've made a stand for themselves, and people know them, that you're not going to find them there. Has it affected their sales?
I reckon it would have increased it, because again, they're doing something different. I mean, it's really PR 101, isn't it? Like, how are you going to stand out? You're going to be able to stand out if you're the same as your competition, or if you do something different. I mean, pretty simple, isn't it? Like, it's funny, interesting, like having done a whole bunch of things that have got quite a lot of PR, it's always a human interest story, makes a big difference. And like the Patagonia thing, that's a human interest story, because it's about, we're destroying the planet. It's not necessarily about looking good in our jacket. It's about caring for the planet, and lots of people care for the planet. Lush, same thing. We know how social media is, being bad for people's, opinions about themselves and social and mental health. So, what we're going to do? We're going to pull it all out, and we're going to approach all those people who agree with that, and they're going to be brand loyal like anything, because you're going to get loyal people. I think that people who buy Patagonia and Lush, they'll be so brand loyal, because they won't be swayed. Oh, there's another fashion brand doing 30% off. No, I'm going to stick with my Patagonia. Oh, there's another cosmetic brands with another discount. No, I'm going to pay a bit more because I believe in what Lush is saying. And that's so genius. And so then they're not going to be stuck with the ups and downs of sales and discount and stuff. They're always going to have all these people who's going to keep coming back, in a way, subscribing, if that's the new term for loyalty. But they're going to talk about it, and they're going to tell their friends. Have you seen this brand? They're so amazing. I love them. You won't even find them on social media. I mean, I love that thing about their brand. You've got people hooked in their heart rather than in their logical brain going, oh, discounts on sale, I can save $1.95. No, I'm just going to stick with the high price stuff that I love, that I tell my friends about. Because a brand also, it's a reflection of who you are.
Yeah.
So you'd be proud to talk about Lush, but you're probably not going to talk about your Kmart cosmetic that you got for cheap, but you will talk about something you spend a little bit extra money on. Same with Patagonia. You'd be proudly wearing your Patagonia badge and saying, I've had this jacket for 23 years and it's still going strong. And your friends would be like, my God, I got my thing from this other brand and it fell apart in 3 years. It's crap. It's like, you should get a Patagonia, then you won't have to buy another one. It's really simple stuff. Yeah.
Same price, better quality. As they say for Aldi, good, different.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Aldi's so great as well. Like they don't really do discounting stuff. They just have stuff on that's there all the time, and their discounting stuff is having the random bizarre stuff that's in the middle of the supermarket, like getting a hammock or a freeze dry.
People still want it. Snow boots. Went and bought snow boots.
So brilliant. And then that's their way of doing it differently. It's like, I'm going to come in for this random stuff in there, plus I can get all my other groceries for cheap. Again, they're just being different. They're just being different. There's a monopoly in one way. They've gone, what can we do that's slightly different? And they stand out and people love it.
As they say, as the old saying goes, if you don't stand for something, then you fall for everything. Yeah. And I think that's a really great kind of note to end on, because if we're talking about loyalty, that's what we're looking for, is not how you can win on price, but how you can win on the heart.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like Black Friday, Cyber Monday, that's a couple of days of the year. What about the rest of the year? If you've discounted and pulled your pants down, I would be waiting then for next year before I come back to your brand. Whereas for Patagonia, for Lush, and brands like that who stay firm on who they are, you're going to be shopping with them the rest of the year, which is, that's what you want, isn't it?
That is exactly what you want. So in your opinion, Black Friday, yes or no? Do you do it as a brand?
If you're going to do it, I think you just need to do it differently. So no problem doing it, but I think you can do your messaging differently. Like I'm sure there's a brand now saying, we don't do Black Friday, we do Green Friday. So we're closing our stores or something like that. So you can do it, but you need to do it in a smart way. I think non-stop discounting might work if you're a humongous brand and you've got millions and billions of dollars, because, like Kathmandu, they're always like a 40-50% off sale because their prices, that's actually the price they want to sell it for. But then they try to charge twice as much for the rest of the year and say it's on discount for 50%. So that's sort of a bit of a it's a smart marketing move, slightly a bit of a scam. But I don't think you want to be getting into a discounting wars, because it's the old race to the bottom. You're never going to win the race to the bottom against massive brands. So if you're a smaller brand, you can do something that can stand out and get you PR for cheap. I think that's really going to be the way, and you can really. Like news is looking for a story that is of a human interest story that's going to mean something to their viewers, and it's going to mean something to people on social media. If you can do something that makes you stand out, then absolutely do it. But don't just go massive discounts. I don't think it's going to work in a long-term fashion for your brand, in my opinion.
I love that, in a long-term fashion. And that's what we're looking for. And that's why people are launching loyalty programs left, right, and center. How do you connect to the heart, the mind, and then the wallet of the customer?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a great way of looking at it. If you keep the tills ringing for the rest of the year.
Awesome. And that's what we all want. Thank you so much for your time today, Alex. You've been amazing and always a treasure trove of beautiful information. The good news is that Alex is in the process of developing a course for eSchool, and this is designed for leaders and people to become more creative. This is all off the back of the Right Brain Workout. We're very excited. This course will be available within the next, I think, 8 weeks of you watching this. So go ahead and pre-subscribe. You can go and check out that course, and you can pre-enroll to that course, and that course will be live in about eight weeks or so. So thank you so much for your time today, Alex, and we'll surely have you back on another Tuesday tutorial to look at, probably it's the other side of Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and see what some brands did and see if there were any ads worth talking about.
It's brilliant. Thanks, Leda. Have a great day, everyone.
Cheers, Al.